the panel, ladies.
Ladies, welcome. Welcome, queens. Y'all matter as well, very much so. Women lives matter.
Y'all
matter as well, very much so.
I said an echo. We gotta understand how much we truly matter.
All right, well, let me greet them.
Ooh.
Hello, ladies. Greetings, blessings, and manners. Okay. Let's enjoy the ride.
Oh yeah, we gonna enjoy tonight. So we want to thank everyone for tuning in, whether you're catching us live or on a replay. We so appreciate your support, your feedback, even you commenting. We got a bunch of people who tune in that may not even comment. So we just thank you all for taking your Sunday nights to vibe with us. So this is the That's What He Said panel, but tonight is a special version because it's That's What He Said versus She Said. As you all know, we just got some questions to ask. We got some ideas that we need to debunk and just some understanding that we need to come closer to. So we're excited for this evening. On the panel, you guys know Mentor, Jomo, and Chris. They are the house residents, if you would. But the visitors that we have Cassandra. Say hey, Cassandra.
Hello, everyone.
Where are you visiting us from?
Denton, Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
Little D.
Little D. And what you hope to get out of this, Cassandra?
I guess a better understanding of the men's thought process when it comes to women.
Yeah, aren't we all? Okay. All right. Next up, we have Deidre.
Hey. I'm from West Palm. I'm from Florida. And I'm looking to get the same, just an understanding and the guy's point of view.
Okay.
West Palm. Okay.
West Palm Beach. And then we have Aisha.
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Aisha, where are you visiting us from?
Miramar, Florida. Shout out to Miramar.
Miramar. All right.
Definitely you should stay there.
And we see that Mentor got company, y'all. Mentor, talk to us a little bit about who you got with you.
I am in the south side of Chicago right now. Whenever I'm here, I definitely link up with family, other poets who are out here doing their thing, who I respect. And this gentleman right here goes by the name of Kels. Kels, the artist. Speak for himself.
It's definitely a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak, and I appreciate you guys for providing a platform.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining us. We're curious to know your thoughts.
And also, I got some more reinforcements. Some more
reinforcements.
It's a guest speaker that goes by the name of
the guest speaker. Yeah, we represent right here, coming from Chicago, coming live. Shout out to everybody that's out there. We definitely appreciate your presence and just being here. Shout out to everybody that's on the scene right now. I go by the guest speaker, and I'm just here enjoying the love. Peace.
All right. Y'all gonna need that backup because the ladies that I picked. Oh, okay, I'll let y'all experience them. So
I got a question, Alicia.
What question quick. You got?
Since the ladies said they want to understand, like Cassandra, I want to understand the man's thought process, right? Didn't you read Steve Harvey's book, Think Like a Man?
No. I did not.
I thought that would have set you all straight.
No. Okay. I need to hear from the source. I don't want to hear from the second.
No ratings, Steve. No ratings.
First of all, Steve Harvey is not Bible, okay?
Right.
What he has to say to it may not work for everybody. But
hello.
All right. So I know normally we recap the week's happenings, what's been going on, but we got so much juice that we're gonna jump right into some of the questions that we have. So shout out to some of the viewers and supporters of That's What He Said, because a lot of them sent over some questions that they want to know. So this should be really interesting. So let's start off with the first one. Do you believe the current Black movement is a trend for some Black people? And how do we sustain it? So who wants to take that on first? You know, let me
ladies first.
Let me jump to Aisha. Go ahead, Aisha.
I mean, I think it's a trend for some people, and there are people that have been about it since day one. I know my skin is not a trend. I wake up every day, I'm Black. So for me, this movement is not a trend. As a mother, you know, raising a future generation, I'm really, really hoping that it's not a trend. I more so want to hope that it's an eye-opening moment for some. And I really hope to sustain it, that we have more platforms like 828, my platform, Blacklisted. There's a lot of us out there that are really pushing for conversation and for growth. And I really feel that's how we sustain the movement. And I really hope it's not a trend, honestly.
All right. Let me jump to Chris on that.
All right, I agree with everything Aisha said. Let me just build on that. I believe we do need to keep like the Black leaders, because it is a trend for some people, right? But it's okay. You can welcome them. It takes, you know what I mean? It takes different circumstances and events for someone to get an eye-opening, you know, episode. But I do believe, just to keep it, like she said, these platforms like this, whatever, keep it going. And also just keep these Black leaders, these so-called Black leaders that's now coming out, let's keep them in check and keep them accountable now. Mm-hmm. Since now we're in a new space where we can openly discuss race, even in the workplace. Where
and that is so different.
No, it's like acceptable. So let's just take full advantage of what's going on. Welcome anybody. If you're taking it as a trend, well, welcome board. But we're gonna keep it going. The resistance going. Yeah.
For sure. Deidre?
Well, I think some people do. Unfortunately, I think they try to capitalize on it financially, whether, you know, they're trying to push out, you know, the Black Lives Matter, you know, T-shirts or what have you. They may not necessarily believe in the cause. You know, overall, I think that we are making a change. We just have to stay focused and, you know, continue to voice our opinions and, you know, keep an open mind. And if you see someone, you know, straying, you know, just back up from them and continue to move forward. At the end of the day, we have a purpose. We all matter. Black lives matter. As long as we're promoting us and, you know, we're looking forward to the future, we have children that we have to, you know, be accountable for. And they are our people, bottom line. So, yeah.
And it's funny that you bring up children, because in this moment, it's kind of like our kids are going to be asking us, what did we do when all of this was happening? And I don't want to at all be a parent to say, I mean, I didn't really get involved. No, like, so they're watching us even now, as young as they may be. And that's really what's going to help shape their actions going forward. So, all right.
Of history, period. We got to be on the right side.
Yeah, for sure. Joe?
I hope it's not a trend. I think this is something that we need to take serious and continue to, you know, capitalize on in a good. You're right. There are people that are, you know, representative and not really with the movement, but we can't really worry about them right now. We just got to worry about making sure that they understand that we've had enough, that, you know, that we're tired of just, you know, taking it or just, you know, giving it. It's time to pay us our respect. So we just got to keep moving forward and capitalize on this.
Okay. Mentor?
Okay, I'm going to start from here and go this way and let everybody give some brief responses to it.
All right. Trend, though I think it's a trend. Trends tend to come and go. These type of situations have been happening for a while, and even we've been coming together even in times during the 60s, during civil rights, I guess, to protest and to express ourselves. So this is something that has been happening. I would say during this time though, it has had an effect on our people. I was here in Chicago for Juneteenth. I don't know how it was in Miami, but it was pretty effective here. I felt the presence of people wearing the pride of being Black. So I guess some of the movements or us coming together is having an effect that people want to see more than change, so to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like all of the things that took place, like even from when like 2020 first started, Kobe died. Then we had a worldwide pandemic, and then the accident was George Floyd. So I feel like all of these events was more so like a catalyst, not a trend, but more like a reason for Black people to come together more. So I don't think it was more a trend. I think it was more like a catalyst for us to come together and really get organized. Because even though we had a lot of chaos, that chaos was organized, and it just showed us like how we can come together. And if we do it for something positive, we can get results, because we've been getting results from this protest that's recently happened. We've been getting results. So it that together actually works.
I love that word, results.
Results. That was my profile picture for a minute. It says your results are telling you the truth. When everything else is lying, your results are telling you the truth. No, that's encouraging to hear. Also, in an area that's known, for their share of negativity, but rich in tradition and history. It's encouraging to hear that they've been seeing results out here. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
For the trend, hey, listen, I just want us to care after the riots. I believe I said a team that said something like that. After the riots are done, because, like these gentlemen said, throughout the course of history, we marched, we got lynched, we got, executed in broad daylight in front of our children. We've been going through all of this for a long time now. So I know it's not a trend. I just, because of the presence of social media and all of these different outlets, because of the Instagrams and the Facebooks and whatnot, trend tends to get attached to everything, but unfairly. Right now, Black people have the world spotlight. You see these demonstrations in Denmark and in, places where you wouldn't think would be protesting with us, they're protesting. So the Black people, we have the world, on the spotlight right now. So what it is that we're going to do with it from this point forward is the most important thing. Now that you have the world's attention, because they're gonna see what we're gonna do next. Okay, now that you have. So.
Oh, and please don't act a fool. Look, I'm like, now that the world is watching, now is not the time to be. Cassandra, you want to close this out with this one?
Yeah, I agree with what everybody was saying. It may be a trend for some, but definitely our people are in the spotlight right now. And how we sustain that is get our Black Wall Street back. How do we come back together as a people and be that strong in our community to say, hey, we are the kings and queens that we're supposed to be. We're going to be in the front and not the tail. That's how we're going to sustain it. But I also see that it's going to be a lot of backlash. So it's not going to be something that's coming easy, because the KKK, the white supremacists, they're out there and they're more in the forefront. They're boisterous. They're speaking out just as much as we're speaking out. So as a people, we cannot become complacent, because we're in the forefront. We become accepted by society and other white people who are looking in us, and we forget. We become complacent. Not that we forget, but we're more settled. Our spirits are settled, so we just go on about everyday life. We can't just be settled with it. We have to stay strong and with it as we are right now. Don't stop. The drive has to be like a train.
We can't let up. Can't take the foot off the gas.
No.
All right. So last week we had a question for the fellas that we're going to bring back into this week. Because it's a very interesting question. And when I ask this, it's going to be, hold on, Kaden, turn off. It's going to be beyond, your family members and friends. All right. So we want to know, Black women, do you feel protected around Black men? Why or why not? So do you feel like Black men protect you?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with Deidre on this one.
Absolutely. I do feel protected. I also feel honored, and that they stand firm in protecting us. I haven't had a situation to where they haven't looked out for me. Even growing up, I had the homeboys who looked out, the brothers who looked out, and it helped mold me to the person I am today. So even like a lot of advice that people asked me for, it came from a guy who was protecting, looking out for me. A quote from a cousin of mine, he always said, if you come in the front door, go out the front door. Meaning, if the female come in the front door and he let her out the back door, the next one comes in the front door. So if you came in that front door, you go right back out that front door. So don't be a fool. So just simple things like that. But as far as feeling protected, absolutely. I mean, they're strong, they're educated, they're important. They are the head of the household. They do what they're supposed to do, especially when they have someone, in their corner who is providing and making sure that they know that they're important. So that's my take.
Okay. Cassandra, do you feel protected by Black men?
I do. And just even like Deidre said, growing up, even at Eagle Crest, I know you remember Eagle Crest.
I remember Eagle Crest.
I remember it was a basketball game. I was leaving. And I don't remember the guy's name, but there was some white guy who came out of nowhere and was like, you need to go back to Africa. Now, I didn't know this Black guy that went to Eagle Crest with me. But when I tell you, he got that dude and he beat his butt. He kicked his butt. He got kicked out of school by protecting me from some words that were spoken against me. You know what I mean? So yes, I have always. No, I did not know him, but I have always felt that protection being around my Black men. So yes.
Okay. All right. Aisha, do you feel protected by Black men?
I've had those experiences, to be honest. I've had experiences where I felt very protected, very comfortable, and I've also had experiences where I did not feel as protected. But I think like the question on a whole, it kind of stems from a lot of things that we see on social media right now. Like there's this really big trend, like Black men need to, protect Black women more. And I almost feel like the intent behind it is to be divisive. When we discuss it, we have to be delicate about it, because if we start saying, oh, we generalize all men, or we don't feel protected by Black men, that puts Black men in a very uncomfortable position. We can't class everybody in the same class because of our own, our own experiences. And it's unfair to them to, take our experience like, oh, all Black men don't protect Black women. That's absolutely not true. But at the same time, I want to say this to my kings: if the shoe fits, wear it. If you are somebody that that you have, not protected a Black woman, maybe it was in the past, maybe it's in the present, maybe if it relates to you, it's something that you can fix, because there's a reason for the narrative. In general, I love my Black men, and like I've said, I've had both experiences.
Okay, so fellas, how does it make you feel to hear that? To hear how the women are feeling regarding protection?
Refreshing.
Is it refreshing? Why?
Because from a systematic standpoint, it's not usually, because like I said last time, black men are emasculated from slavery, prison system, morgue. You get what I'm saying? And they make it in a way that, listen, women, you know, and like I'm saying, it's not most of you women on the panel are enlightened, right? But that doesn't go for the mass. The masses are women. So I'm just saying, from that standpoint, they make it to the point where you can't rely on the black man anymore. You just rely on me as a system. I'll give you money. You go to school, you go to college, you get educated, you get all these things. You don't need him. Right. So that is my, that's from my standpoint, but it is refreshing. You understand? I'm not Mr. Glass half empty.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that. Yeah.
All right. Mentor.
All right. Let's go to my panel.
I agree with the brother. It does feel refreshing. We as men, we have an obligation, a duty to our women, to protect them. And it's something that I know that we as men have been doing. I had seen examples of that throughout my life. To hear that narrative that black men don't protect women or don't protect our women, who said that? I haven't heard that. But I guess it might be spoken somewhere through the grapevine that black men don't protect women. I don't, or protect our women. I solely don't agree with that. I think that we must take that duty. Now, maybe it's not seen organized where a group or an army of black men are doing that duty. But I think that we all have to take that responsibility as men to go the extra foot forward to protect our women, even if it's death.
Woo!
Nice.
Deep. I like that, bro.
I love how you ended it.
Wow.
My personal
Ride or die panel. Ride or die.
Sure.
I was raised by a single black mother. I'm the oldest of 5 children. I got 2 little sisters, and my first child was a daughter. So all I've been doing was protecting women my whole life. I do not hang around people who do not protect women. I don't hang around men who don't take care of their children. I don't hang around men who beat on women.
Come on.
So I attract the type of people that I am. So my circle consists of uplifting black men who are very protective, not only of women, but of their communities as well.
You done messed around and got 200 new followers with that.
Said something really big. You are the company you keep.
Yeah.
Hello.
Precisely. Keep it real short and simple. Like Lauryn Hill said, respect is just the minimum. Right? At the very root of it, man, we have to get back to respecting them first quarter, like no matter what. Like one of the young ladies said on there earlier, how we shouldn't do anything divisive. Nothing divisive right now at this moment. So it's arguing points on both sides, right? You know, the men and the women, if we wanted to, we can point out some things to argue about. But it isn't about that right now. Men, in general, we just need to go back to accountability. Because of the mass of the women out there that are hurting, that are in pain, let's just go back to accountability and do this one thing and go, you know what? You're right, we need to do better. Now imagine a bunch of men just saying we need to do better.
What?
Imagine how that would spread, and then imagine everybody taking accountability, where the women will go, you know what? Yeah, it's arguing points on both sides. He's right. Let's just put out the energy of we need to do better. Now, if the women are saying we need to do better, and the men are saying we need to do better, guess what's going to happen?
Better's going to happen.
Now we're back to the results again. Now we're back to the results. We need to start putting, the system deciding what to do with our families. when to pay child support, when to do this, when all of it. And just let's not be divided, like she said, and get back to we just need to do better.
We just need to do better, yeah.
So, Alicia, before you move on, I just have a quick question to go on with that. Aisha was saying how sometimes she has not felt protected, and I know it's some other women who may be listening who have not felt protected by men. What do you say to those women who are not feeling protected by their men?
I appreciate the question, Cassandra. I think healing has to take place first. Personally, in my opinion, you have to heal from whatever experiences you have in order not to adopt a bitter or a general mindset, right? So to the women that have experienced not being protected by men or Black men, I would say heal. Seek your healing, forgive them, understand that not all Black men or men in general are the same, and more from there. Because having a mindset that everybody is the same based off of your individual experience, all that does is cause damage. And again, divisiveness. And as a community, we really don't need that.
I agree.
What would a fella have to say to that, to a woman who doesn't feel protected?
I want to ask, what does feeling not protected looks like?
Mm-hmm. Come on, Joe.
It could, I mean, I have not been in that experience, but some people may have been in an abusive relationship. It may not have been physical abuse. It may have been mental abuse. I mean, there's a lot of different ways it could look. So how do you tell a woman or help her get through that?
And it could also just be lack of backing, like lack of support, like not feeling like, that they will go to bat for you if you needed them to. It could just be the lack of that.
Well, it goes back to that conversation, Cassandra, that we had, I think, last time you were on the panel. It's identifying that person was who they were the whole time. You've seen it from the get-go that someone's not gonna back you. You see abuse early because you hear the comments, you hear what's going on, and you just hear the energy that comes around them. So what I would say to somebody that's, I wouldn't say not feel protected, because we're talking about now going into abuse, mentally, physically, or just not being a team. I wouldn't say don't categorize that as being not protected, because like the fella said, sometimes it can stir the wrong way because men's mentality is always be the king. Even there's men that they go into anything, their mentality is, I got to lead, but in that situation, I just say, get out as quick as you can. Count your loss, count your loss. Life does go on. Don't really, the pain that you're going to go through by getting rid of that, that feeling or that energy is going to be way, way less worse than the pain that you're going to go through if you continue to stay when you realize those things are happening.
Yep.
Listen, I agree with Joe 100%, but in all fairness to Cassandra, right? Some people are great actors. Like Shakespeare said, the world is a stage, okay? And sometimes when you meet someone, they're not meeting them, you're meeting a representative. They just, and it takes time to reveal who they are. And some people are better actors than some. My advice is to appreciate a man for his realness. Stop focusing so much on status. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't have it together, a certain kind of way, like I'm, in the poorhouse. But accept a man for his realness, not just financial, not just status, not focusing on all that stuff.
And y'all do the same, though. Will you all be able to do the same and focus?
Since you open Pandora's box, I'm going to clear that up, all right? Because that's not our symptom. Okay, we
Don't feel like you being
we
attacked.
don't care. We don't care if you're at the bus stop. We don't care if you're on fries. We don't care if you're flipping the burger. We don't care what you're doing. As long as we like you and we're attracted to you.
You may not care what we're doing, but you do care a lot about how we're looking. And
That's
a lot of
not-
the looks.
We
can
discussed
be-
this before. That's not
Right,
true.
but what I'm talking about now is realness in a way of I'm talking about from the soul. I'm not
Okay.
really talking about the superficial part. No, we are guilty of that
Okay.
because
as long
we are
as you own it.
visual. So I'm not even gonna dispute that. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is just try to look for a man for the realness and stop looking for that particular package. Because sometimes the realest man is at the bus stop.
So what you're saying for women, so for in
You
order
see?
for
I like
women
how you
to,
broke that down, man. I like how you reminded him of that.
You see, I would like a girl or a woman at the bus stop. Alicia can't even take hearing that. But you see what I'm saying? It's
Right.
She might be
Don't
at the
feel
bus stop, but her body better
Don't
be
feel attacked.
banging. I mean,
right. She gonna step out 36, 24, 36. She's gonna be fine, right? No,
let me
just
tell you something.
aesthetically, there's
down
not gonna
to
be
earth,
any
girl,
flaws, right?
Patty, who might be a-
The thing with that is, I mean, we always say that, but if you look around, look at your friends, look at the people around you, look at people on this panel. Who has that girl that you guys are talking about? I think we get so lost in what's being put in front of us that we think that that's what we all want. But there's everybody, no one on this panel can say, well, you know what? I got that girl. Shame on me. No, we got the regular Joe who probably gonna have some things, a stocking cap on, wig off. You see the real hair. That's what we like. And we've said this before, so I think it's what's being put out there that we think. Chris say, for us, it's simple. You can be getting off the bus, and if I love your conversation, then I'm gonna see what this is gonna lead to. But those ones that get their bodies done, that's just eye candy, man.
All right, full disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
I've had those girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna sit here.
But how long did you get them to go? Did you get them to be with them?
But the thing is that would I like a girl she's waiting at the bus stop? Yes. And sometimes you have to realize that it's not so much on the physical look itself only for a man. It's also the sex appeal. Because I can see a girl that's she's attractive. Let's just put it in numbers. Say she's like a 7, right? Just by her physical look, right? And then this girl over here, she's a 10, right? But this girl over here who's a 10, she walk on her tippy toe. Okay. And then this girl over here who's a 7, she have this rhythm and this sex appeal. So guess who I'm gonna be attracted to?
But sometimes you guys get the girl that's a number 7, you take them for granted. So I don't understand.
Yes.
I know so many men that
No, it's not that we take them for granted. I mean, for me, it's not that we take them for granted.
Yeah.
All right.
They got a weak
Hold on.
mentality.
The 10 for granted too. The guy
Yeah.
that will take a 7 for granted will take the 10 for granted because that's
It's their mentality. Yeah, it's what they got up there, man. If they not bringing nothing to the table, if they weak minded or the 7 is worried about the 10, yeah, it's how long you could deal with that.
Okay, mentor.
50 Cent asked 21 questions, right? He said, girl, you with me if I was down? Out. You still have love for me? Because he realized, in this spotlight, in this world, you're going to see these 24, 36, 20. You're going to see these people, and they're going to be everywhere, and they're going to come a dime a dozen. You know why he decided to ask these 21 questions? Because he figured out one day I'm going to get old and gray. If I fell off tomorrow, would you still love me? If I didn't smell so good, would you still hug me? If I got on this catheter, a diaper, and I'm 60-something years old, what a Coke bottle shaped woman is gonna do for me then? I'm gonna need somebody that's, I got 21 questions that if you probably get at least 18 of them right, You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to, hit all 21.
But mentor, it goes the same way because we could date the guy on the bus stop. We could date the guy on the bus stop, right? We could support him through his hustle, and then when he makes it, he can swap us out for a newer model.
I can attest to that. My story is that. Hello.
Nah. You ain't support no man on the bus stop.
I did that. I did that. Y'all
was he from the bus
story.
stop? Was he from the bus stop?
But
the brother didn't have a car.
He didn't have a car, but let me ask you this though. I asked you this the last time, Cassandra, are you gonna use somebody's fat to fry the next person?
No.
That's a totally different person. And
Yeah.
your baggage over there.
But yes. But
you're not to keep your eyes open and once bitten, twice shy. I know all of that. But that doesn't mean it's the same person.
Right.
Right? You could have that man that treat you like a queen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about the fellas in the van? Y'all got anything you guys want to add?
Don't get scared, y'all.
I think the question was to the sisters that felt like they're unprotected. And I heard another sister mention healing, because that right there is a real important aspect of, your perspective of where you come from. If you really feel like that you're not protected by men or black men in particular, you might want to change your environment. You definitely want to, reevaluate the company that you keep. And it was something else interesting that the other brother did say too. You have to look with a keen eye at the men that's in your life and look at them look at those that have your best interests in mind. If you really do feel like that, you have to also look closely to the ones that's been in your life that have your best interests, regardless of their background or what side of town they may be from, etc. To keep a good close relationship to the men in your life that do genuinely have your best interests in mind. That's all that I want to say.
Okay. All right.
To keep it brief, I would say no matter how much you like a person, do not ignore red flags. That's all. If you see red flags, just take notice of it and move accordingly.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes we don't acknowledge them red flags all the time.
No, not at all.
It doesn't mean that if he's at the bus stop, it's a red flag, though.
Not that.
Oh, Lord.
Talking about how he used to be all ex-girlfriend.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. So, what do you feel is a big misconception about Black women and Black men? So the men, I'm gonna have you answer. What do you think is a big misconception for you? And to my ladies, what do you think is a big misconception about Black women? So we're gonna tag team. We'll go back and forth. Deidre, I'm gonna start with you, and then I'll jump to Mentor.
Okay, so I think as Black women, our biggest misconception is we're always called loud. They're always saying you're too loud, you're uneducated, you're aggressive, unsupportive, and not enough. And we are definitely enough. It doesn't take someone else's perspective of you to know that you're enough. You have to know that you're enough.
Okay. Mentor, what are some misconceptions about Black men?
Going from left to right on my panel.
What was the question? What are some misconceptions about Black men?
You can just give me two.
Well, it's a misconception that we savages, and it's definitely a misconception that we not gods. I think that those are some of the biggest misconceptions that's out here that's about Black men in general.
Okay.
You always
go deep.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
one of the biggest misconceptions is that all black men are either dogs or cheaters, and that's not true. I feel like another big misconception is that black men don't have no loyalty, or they can't be faithful to one woman, and I think that's a super big misconception that we have.
Okay, all right, I've heard that one plenty of times.
Yeah.
Mentor.
I'm going to take an unexpected angle and talk about what's a huge misconception for the black women. I think it's a huge misconception that the black women can't be faithful either. They're cheaters. That they're, you see the double standards all the time. Let's take, let's say Becky with the good hair. Becky with the good hair walks into Walmart. She has on Daisy Dukes. It's not really considered flagrant. Right? Now, Aisha walks into Walmart and she has on these Daisy Dukes. It's not Aisha's fault that she's built like a brick house, like a stack house. You see what I mean? And this is offensive. This is offensive to a lot of people, and they feel threatened, and they feel like, they can't be faithful. How can she be faithful with all that booty? Yes, she could be faithful with all that booty. Like respect, like, hold on, you don't even know her. But automatically, you know what I mean, she can't be faithful because she's that fine. Like it's some misconceptions there, regarding that. So that's the angle that I wanted to take.
Okay. Cassandra.
Misconception about black women. We're angry, we're bitter. And I agree, they say we are aggressive. I think, it depends. I don't think some, I'm not going to say all, but there are some black women who are angry and bitter from things they went through in the past. Do I think black people are aggressive? I do. We are. Naturally, we are aggressive. It's not that we're trying to be offensive. It's who we are, especially when we are knowledgeable about a situation, or we're depending on what we're going through. Yeah, we can be aggressive, and it's not to be offensive. It's just that's just who we are. We are natural kings and queens, and when you stand on that, you are a more aggressive individual.
Truth.
Okay. All right, because I've seen aggression from all sides. I've seen white women get aggressive. It's just that theirs is called passionate. Whenever you see them display aggression, it's like, oh, they're really passionate about this particular topic. So we'll get interesting way.
Our aggression comes with power. You can see the power in us when we're expressing that.
Passion. That's passion. It's definitely passion. I wouldn't go with aggressive.
Yeah, agreed. Chris?
All right, let me chime in on that. I definitely agree with Cassandra, and I definitely agree with Aisha, because I see in chat about the angry, bitter part, right? But it's definitely not that, because that perception is definitely misconceptualized to me, because Black women have been through so much. You understand? More than any other human on the planet. All right? With their sons, with their brothers, with their dads, or the so-called dads, not their absentees, whatever the case may be, right? And I just believe that what this reaction that Black women have, that they quote unquote call angry, I agree that it is passion, and it's just a form of strength to me and fortitude. Because Black women are very merciful, right? Because just like you said, Alicia, the white women express aggressiveness, especially when they want to call the police and right? They do, but they're not merciful, right? For the most part. I'm not saying all in it. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying all, but that's what I feel about Black women.
Wow. That was a great way to put it too.
Yeah.
And we have folks in the chat that agree with the misconception of being angry and being bitter. Joe, what would you add? Misconception about Black males?
Well, I'm gonna do women. I definitely want to agree with the panelists. Say that I think the anger, Black male and women, anger is taken to the wrong because we do have a lot of passion, and it scares them when we do release our passion. Definitely that, but I definitely want to give through the misconception of Black women. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of Black women are very they're students of whatever they're interested in. Meaning, if they're in a relationship, they're gonna study what a man wants. They're gonna study what a man needs. You're gonna notice them do things that you're like, man, like I remember just talking about this one time, and I see her trying. I see her doing it. I don't really think women get a lot of credit for that a lot of times. And sometimes you have to sit back and just smile because, like, man, they're studying my habits. They're studying what I like. They're studying what I do. You see certain things in the house that it's like, shit, I didn't do that. Like, damn, and I just want to salute that. They're students of the game. They study what they're interested. If they're not interested in you and you notice that you're not getting nothing out of it, that means that you lost them somewhere.
That was good, Joe.
Yeah. Right. Okay, Joe.
Excellent.
Anyone else want to add?
I love this show.
I just want to add something. A misconception that I come across often is that we're too independent.
Yeah.
I was raised by a Jamaican mother, and I was raised to be extremely independent from a very young age. And because of that, I find a lot of men have this misconception that because I'm independent, that I cannot be led. And that is absolutely not true. I'm more wary because I was raised a certain way. I might, check you out more to see if you are capable of leading me, but my independence is not a threat to your manlyhood. It does not mean that I cannot be led. It does not mean that I am not soft. It does not mean that I am not vulnerable. It just means that I was raised, to be independent, whether I have a man or not.
A certain type of male that is going to be able to.
It takes two to tango, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys are not working in concert, so if the guy says, okay, I'm the head, right? Especially if you're coming from a spiritual background or whatever the case may be, right? If the guy says the head, okay, you're the head. But guess what you are? You're the neck. The head can't move without the neck. So you have to work together or else it won't work at all.
I agree. And I think that it takes, like you said, a special man who knows how to operate from a conscious level and not just his ego to understand the type of woman who is independent and intelligent, because not all men operate from a conscious level where they understand and know how to deal with it. Some, like I said, are threatened by it. And it's a very real thing, especially in our community. And I'm not really sure why it is what it is, but I'm just saying, like, if more of us were more conscious about it, like you said, we are supposed to be the neck for the head of a man who is.
You don't have no head. So go back to what Joe says. Know who you're picking.
Yeah. Mentor.
Yeah, I mean, my advice to the women, real simple. Y'all are nailing it. If you see this man is incapable of leading, do not let him lead you to the cliff and fall off that thing and die.
Yeah.
Use discernment at all times. Use common sense. Like, the youngest brother in the truck was saying about red flags. You know what I mean? These are things that I would definitely encourage the women at all times. If you are with a man and you did your forensics, you found out, you come to the conclusion that he is incapable of leading you. If you find this out, get out. Don't, Now, if the man is worthy of it, I'm not going to Bible thump you or Quran thump you. I'm not going to. If the man is worthy of leading, allow him to lead.
And I think another misconception is that Black women don't want to be led when we do want to be led. Like we want that space to be soft. We want that space to be protected. We want that space to be vulnerable and to trust, right? A lot of times, though, Yeah.
Go ahead, Alicia.
It's like,
Girl.
yeah, you want me to fall? Like, you're gonna be able to catch me if I'm
Right.
going to fall, you know? So it's
Right.
sometimes it's not, you're right. Sometimes they just don't seem capable of being able to catch us. It's not that we don't want them to, it's just that they're not capable. They don't know how.
Everybody's different.
They don't know. They don't know how to control you.
They
But
don't.
listen.
What's man troll,
can't
Chris?
do
Give
it.
us some definition. What is man troll?
Listen, everybody's smart on this panel. And we can put it together.
They can't do what they haven't been taught.
It's just semantics. But listen, though, my misconception about black men, though, is that every black man like light-skinned women or white women or whatever the case may be. And then me, you know, because I'm light-skinned, right? They always look at me like, if I like a black, you like a black? Oh, I didn't know. Right? So somebody asked me if I like, oh, I didn't know you like roast beef. I'm like, what? But the point of the matter is that's another big misconception for me. You know, maybe most black men are like that, but it's not every black man. You can't profile every black man that way.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Who else wants to add? Misconceptions. So how do we overcome, like, how do we get over these misconceptions then? So they're out there, but how do we redefine
education? You have a redefined beauty.
Yeah.
Remember, a certain type of beauty been demonized for a long time, and a certain type of beauty has been elevated, even though certain things come back to roost because, you know, we realize now that having lips is, you know, more attractive and butt and so forth, you know. But
yeah, I think I gotta agree. Definitely educate, man. Like I'm gonna use Chris's analogy. Don't walk past the brother getting off the bus. You know, see what the conversation be like. See what it's hitting for. Because like Chris said, you can fake the front. You can open the door on the first date. You can pay for the bill on the first day. You can make sure she gets home safe. But if you pull out that driveway before she makes sure she get into that house, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Yes.
So it's always just paying attention to the small things and addressing it.
Yeah.
Seeing how they react when you address certain things. If they feel like you're bothering them or, oh, yo, what is wrong with you or this and that, nah.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I'm communicating with you what you need to change. Like I want you to communicate with me what you need to change. So if I can't communicate with you and you respect what I'm saying and not feel offended,
Yeah, the bus stop.
Absolutely.
Mentor.
I just want to add.
Mentor.
Life does reward you for having integrity, loving all of the right things. Case in point, the most famous movie out there, the ones that has everybody laughing from start to finish, has the most deepest message. Eddie Murphy knew that he could not get the woman of his dreams. He didn't want her to fall in love with his money. So he just mastered himself. He went there as a poor man, let him know I can come down to any level. I can mop a McDonald's floor, even though I'm filthy rich.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the best way, the only way that he knew that he can get the woman of his dreams, because she has to value all of the right things. And he rewarded her when he found a woman that can value all of the things that he valued. Like you said, God kind of rewards you on the back end. Here's what you didn't know on the other end. I'm a king and I have all of these royalties. And that's a great way to, you can't give everybody everything at once. Sometimes you're gonna have to test them to see what are the things that they value.
Okay. All right. Next question. What do you define as unconditional love? So how do you define receiving it? And how do you define giving it? So Deidre,
That's a
What do you define as unconditional love? Not that we can really, you know what, I'll hold my comment to the end. Go ahead, Dee.
I define it as loving someone without bias, without judgment. However, while still giving them like the raw, uncut truth, while still loving them no matter what they decide their path is going to be, because ultimately it's still their decision. So that's my way of showing unconditional love. That's how I take it. I would want someone to do the exact same to me. You know, I don't like anything sugar-coated. Just tell me what it is. I don't care. I can accept that. And if you don't, I feel as though you're not loving me, because if we can't communicate and I don't know your truth and you don't know mine, what are we doing this for?
Yep.
Okay. The mentor, actually, let me jump to Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
I think love sometimes is a word that is bounced around and used like a weapon. And people don't really understand how powerful love is. I sometimes refer to love as a drug, as a bad drug, because sometimes you could love someone and you know they're bad for you, but love keeps you around. And then sometimes you could love someone for who they are, and they probably not offering what that other person had, and it's like, man, damn. So that's unconditional love could go both ways, to where it could be like, man, you know what, this person's gonna change to where you're in it on your own. Or it could be like, you know what, I finally found somebody who could make me feel like that person I know I want to be, who could appreciate what I'm gonna do, or just simply give me those conversations that I've been yearning for. So unconditional love can be viewed in different ways.
You know, as you started talking, the difference between love and infatuation came up, because infatuation is a real thing. It's that facade that you hope to come true. But yeah, that unconditional love is that whole nother level that a lot of us can't even fathom. Let me jump to Cassandra.
Yeah, so loving without conditions is unconditional love. And when you think about conditions in a relationship, it may be I can't be with you or love you if you don't make six figures. I can't be with you or love you if you don't already have a house. Those are conditions. Loving them without any type of condition. I love you for who you are. I love you in your raw state. I love you at your weakest moment. I love you, hell, at my weakest moment. That's it, and it goes both ways. It's vice versa. And if you are learning how to love that person, because everybody shows their love and they receive their love in different ways. I may show you that I need to be loved by hearing those affirmations, but you may need to be shown that you're unconditionally loved by saying, hey, here's this gift, I'm going to gift this to you. It's learning how to love each other.
Right. All right. So before I jump to mentor, for his version of unconditional love and what that means to him, and for the fellas with him, those of you in the chat, let us know, what do you think unconditional love is? Like, how do you define it? How do you give it? How do you receive it? And also start thinking about, even for you all on the panel, like, what's your love language? Because as Cassandra was talking, we could be just speaking out of language, because as you know, there's 5 different love languages. Let me see if I can recite them, but it's acts of service, receiving gifts, physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation. So everyone, you could have more than one. There's usually one that's a front runner, right? So it's, how do you like to be loved? And that's so important, because if you like receiving gifts, but you're busy trying to do quality time, you know, for the person. You could just be, your efforts could fall by the wayside. So that is so important to know your love language. So mentor, talk to us. Unconditional love, what does it look like?
Want to simplify it. It's like word association, right? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of unconditional love? So for me, effortless would be the word that comes to mind when I think about unconditional love. That's why folks talk about, you know, we have to be on the same wavelength, same vibe. Everything has to flow from an effortless perspective. And, you know, that type of unconditional love you can definitely get, let's say, from your mother, from your father. You know, where you can close your eyes or turn your back and know that this person that's in my vicinity right here is unconditional love. It's effortless. You're not even thinking about it. They're doing things and saying things that are like as if they were raised to do it. It's just effortlessly and effortless. I mean, you know, when you think about love, action comes to mind because love is an action. So it all blends together with effortlessly as well. If you no, you can't read a person's mind. Okay. Despite, you know, there's some artists that feel like they can read a person's mind, but you can't do it. So the closest that you can come to that is an effortless relationship with the individual.
All right.
So for me, I would say unconditional love, like you used the word effortlessly. So I'm gonna say my word would be despite. Could you love me despite, like Cassandra said, me not having a 6-figure income? Or could you love me despite my past transgressions, or despite my 6 toe? I ain't got a 6 toe, but you know, unconditional love, I like despite. Could you love me despite this or despite that?
Love, unconditional love. That's the most powerful vibration, right? Divine love. That's the ultimate reality. Everything else is mere illusion. And when you tap into that frequency, that's when you tap into the all or to the creator. So having unconditional love, divine love is that's your higher self. That's the real divine love, unconditional love. That's something that we all have access to. Yeah. That's what's up.
Okay.
It's a frequency.
It's the frequency. I'm gonna jump to Poncho in the chat. He says unconditional love is being furious at an individual while making their dinner and never thinking twice about it.
Hello. Yes.
But not putting anything poisonous in the dinner.
That's an angry meal.
That's an angry meal.
Don't make my dinner angry. I don't care. That's an angry meal.
I know, right?
I don't want
Aisha.
Just don't burn me with the hot grits.
Exactly.
I survived that.
Exactly. Aisha and Chris, anything you want to add?
I love what guest speaker said, that divine love, something that we all have access to. I absolutely agree with that. That is the highest vibration to be on. It all starts with self-love, right? We only love someone at the frequency that we love ourselves. I can't give you something that I don't have, right? Yeah, definitely. I love what Mentor said too. Despite, you know, are you gonna love me despite the 6 toe that he doesn't have? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that was Kel's.
But yeah, I love it. I love that. Thank you.
Chris?
I definitely agree with everybody on the panel and saying everything that Joe said, so we'll have everything in place. But I definitely believe that, you know, with the divine love, I mean, that's the highest level that you can be on, that frequency. However, I definitely want to agree with Deirdre most of all, because I look at it like an unconditional love. I look at it like the blues. where you accept everything in it, the funk, everything. That's like saying on a child being born, right? Oh, you said childbirth and you try to sanitize it, but you're really being born between urine and feces, right? So you just accept everything to the point where if I'm in a wheelchair, you're supposed to be there for me and vice versa. It's not supposed to be, okay, no, I'm out. Anything can happen, right? And I'm gonna be there for you. And because I personally lived through that, because my mom had a nervous breakdown and my dad was there for her all the way to back. So I know what that is like, because a weak person without that divine intervention, like the guest speaker was saying, you won't have that. But that's real unconditional love to me. The rest of the stuff is just on the surface. But that's how I look at it, though.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna switch this up with the next question. Ladies, what's more important in a relationship? Would you marry a guy because he loves you or because he can take care of you financially? So let me jump to Aisha. Are you loving him for his money because he could provide for you financially, or are you loving him because of how he treats you?
Aisha is very single. She has neither. Bills. Aisha don't have any. But I mean, you know, I guess my priority is compatibility. If our minds are compatible, we could get the money. You know, if our souls are compatible, if our love is compatible, we can get the money. So I wouldn't necessarily marry someone just for the money. I know plenty of people who are married just for the money and they're extremely miserable. I would say for me personally, I would not marry somebody for money, no.
Okay. All right. And again, this is a no judgment zone. What's great about this panel is that we're able to speak our truth out of love. So, and I'm not saying that to cue up nobody special. I'm just reminding that. Deidre!
So I'm gonna say love, and the reason I say love is because going back to two people, so Aisha and also Chris, as far as the unconditional love. So if you are unconditionally loving someone and they're unconditionally loving you, as Aisha said, you can find a way to get the money. However, if you marry someone for financial gain, what's stopping that person from signing you off and not leaving you a dime, God forbid something happens? So that doesn't leave you anything if there's not true love there. So for me, I would go for the love. The financial, you can get money, I can get money, that's not important. So, yeah. Money does not bring you happiness.
Okay. Cassandra, you marrying for love or you marrying for financial?
I'm going to say love, but to me, love in a relationship is like a partnership. As long as you are both working towards the same goals, we go bankrupt together, but they say love conquers all. If that love is deep enough, you can get through that bankruptcy and build it up again. But if you don't, if your foundation is financial and that's all it is, there's no love, there's no connection, it's just not gonna last.
Okay. Fellas, what's your take on that?
I think good sex for women trump financial whatever.
Here you go.
That's really crazy.
So you're saying that
you will take that money and come and spend it on this guy. So I know that Trump for women. I mean, they can just go through for a while and, but trust me, There's gonna be a Joe grind there somewhere, you know. But
So you're saying the pipe outweighs the finance.
yeah, but in truth and reality, I agree with Aisha because it's compatibility. You must know, and not because the person is different from you. You might be going fast on a pace. It doesn't mean that the other person must go fast too. Sometimes the person going slower is actually gonna complement you, because if you take a route and you drive every day, if you walk one day, you're going to see things that you didn't see before, you didn't realize before, because you're going too fast. So sometimes you have to slow down. So I mean, sometimes these differences complement each other. So you have to put everything into perspective and make it compatible.
All right.
Yeah.
Joe?
I definitely agree with the panel. Love is definitely worth more than money. We see it every day. We see some people go through some things, and it's like, why? But you can see that's that love that they have for that person. That person could be sitting at home while you at work playing video games all day, and you still, genuinely grind and complain about him, but you're going home to him, or vice versa. So I definitely love has to outweigh money. Money comes and go, but when you make it together, it's a better feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor?
Well, I don't want to play devil's advocate here. But what I want to do is address that elephant in the room about finances and how important it is. Because see, we can have this conversation on Zoom, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the Poke and Bean projects, somewhere right now in the project, it's a girl going, ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got that rent, you can come in, you can tell, let's just act like that's not a part of society right now. Let's not act like people don't put a lot of value in it.
Right.
People put a lot of value into finances. It's something that's, you'll be upset and angry for no reason, sitting up in the house hungry, right? Now y'all looking at each other hungry. But wait a minute, we can't talk about love. No, we can't talk about love right now. My stomach hurts. Hungry, right?
Hungry.
So let's not act like finances is something that we just sweep under the rug.
Right.
We tend to go out to dinners and vacations and create memories. That's the key word, memories. With just a little bit more money in your bank account. Let's not act like you know what I mean. That's not a part of what everybody wants. At the end of the day, we want that, and we want
stability.
Children, yeah, and we want our children to not want for nothing on top of it. So,
yeah.
I'm going to add to that. I'm going to add the fact that I understand financial gain to be a part of it, and yes, if you're hungry, no, you're not going to want to talk about love.
Or the
drive. If you see that person
or the pipe,
they want that, you're good. Right.
And speaking of the pipe, women are emotional creatures, Chris. So if you think you laying the pipe and you putting it down, and I'm sorry, I'm just not into it right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to be in the pipe be into the pipe when you're hungry. I mean,
when you're not emotionally there, it's just like, nah.
But according to physiology, though, you have more nerve endings. So,
8,000 nerve endings.
Yeah, you have.
Thank you to my
according
cousin
to physiology, you have
educated
more
me on that this week.
If you're hungry and I'm hungry, guess who worse? Me. I have less nerve.
You stupid.
Yeah.
All right. You want anything else? Anyone else want to add?
I would say definitely love is way more important than money, but money is just as important, if that makes sense. Money is a mindset, though. a lot of people don't want somebody that's broke, but they'll settle for somebody that's broken. And that's where a lot of the misery comes from. You don't want somebody that's broke, but you'll take somebody that's broke because they got money. But do they got integrity? Are they gonna take care of your emotions at the end of the day? Money ain't gonna hold you at night.
All right, Kels.
What he said.
What he said.
What he said.
That's what he said.
Name of the show. That's what he said.
That's what he said. Exactly.
Hello.
Joe, anything you want to add? You muted. I think he said he's good.
Nah, everybody. Good, Kels. That was nice.
Yeah, Kels. Way to do that one. All right. So while we on the topic of the pipe, can a woman continue seeing a man who treats her like a queen, but cannot satisfy her sexually?
No.
Let's go to Aisha, who said no. I said no. Aisha, talk to me. Can he treat you like a queen? But
He said if you stay with
huh?
but he's not sexually satisfying me, but
he treats you like a queen, but he cannot satisfy you sexually. Stay with him.
There's some compromises. What are you compromising something?
That's a no.
Yeah, she took too long to answer that.
Yeah,
no. I'm trying to make his notes sound nice.
No.
Them nerve endings talking. No.
Oh, what happened with it?
That's a no. All right, so we got one for no. Deidre, what you got?
Well, although I don't have experience in this, just saying, it depends on, we're talking about somebody who you just met or somebody you've been with.
She can't relate. Deidre know how to pick them. She can't relate.
Yeah, I can't relate. I need to know, is this somebody who you just getting with or somebody you have, something established with?
Well, how established can it be if he's not laying the pipe? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm going to say the beauty and health phase. So let's say you've been with this person for years. Okay. And something, as Chris was saying, something happened. And now they no longer can. Well, it's remedies to that. You can talk to them, let them know what you need. Or, you can do something else at the end of the day. But if it's somebody brand new, brother gotta go. It is what it is.
But okay,
so we got Yoski in the chat said that's a negative. She's cheating on God.
What happened? I missed it.
What'd you say, Minister?
Okay, let's say he has, 6 inches, right? You need a couple more zeros in the account. Now, let's say he has 5 inches. Maybe you need a little bit more zeros in the account. Let's say he has a full erection now, and all the brother is working with is 3 inches. Now you need a whole lot of zeros in that account, don't you?
No.
What's your attraction? What's keeping you? Is it the way he's treating you?
He's treating you like a queen. He treats you like a queen. But can't satisfy you sexually.
But remember, women are emotional creatures. So it can go both ways. If emotionally I am into you, all of you, that means when we are intimate, you laying it down, I'm going to feel you in a way because I'm connected to you, not just sexually, I'm connected to you emotionally, I'm connected to you mentally. So I'm going to be able to feel your 3 inches.
I agree.
Opposed to somebody who, if I'm just getting with you and it's really all about finances. No, brother, sorry, no, not gonna happen. You're gonna need to, no, it's not gonna work. But seriously, emotionally, I don't care. And y'all can be mad at me, women, I don't care. But emotionally, you can be connected to that person and feel all of that 3 inches.
All of 3 inches. Let's just say everything about him. Got a little dog.
Hey, no, but
4 foot something. She got 3 inches.
Listen,
Everything
give Cassandra a break. Give her a break. She's looking at things through a magnifying glass. Okay?
What a
It
magnifying
can work.
All right, so what about fellas now? Because you can have a woman who treats you like a king, but she is trash in bed. So what are your thoughts on that?
To me, I feel like that's different. Like me and if your penis little, your penis just little. But women,
What'd you say?
You're
certain things. Man, but if you got a small penis, you just out of there. Ain't no coming back from that.
Ain't no coming back.
Nobody's agreeing with me. They're like, no, Cassandra,
right.
sorry, it's not gonna happen.
So what about having a woman who treats you amazing? I mean, you've never felt like the king that you are, but in bed, like she just is lazy, plays possum, just boring.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing. That means she haven't experienced you, you know. So that means obviously, you know, it's meant for you to sparken her up and you know, put some light in blind corners, so to say.
Put some light in blind corners.
Yeah, I definitely gotta agree with that. Yeah, it's different. It's different for men. If she just, you know, that's you as a man saying, let me do what I gotta do and show her how I want it. Eventually, goes back where I say women are students of the game. They're gonna learn and they're gonna see how you like it. But to a man, I think that a man, like, no matter how much emotion you have with a man, if he's not bringing that passion out in the bedroom and doing you right, you know, make you feel good, you not staying.
Mm.
You gonna get him.
Yeah, you out of there, man. You gone. Like Holiday said, she cheating on God.
Oh, God.
To answer your question, Alicia, and from a man's perspective, it's more so for us, would be more so with the sex drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's either it's too low or it's too high. You understand? So that's usually what it is for us, to keep it simple, right? So we can't deal with no woman no and her sex drive low. You know, you have a headache, you're tired all the time. You understand? It's gonna be a problem. You understand? And then some of them know just all the time I have to get them to wipe out tired. And, you know what I mean? But you have to know, like Aisha said, you have to be compatible. You have to know what it is. You're gonna know from the beginning. You should.
You will know from the beginning. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyone else want to add before we move on?
That was deep.
That was good.
So, go ahead.
No, I just want to add that, you know, normally, you know, I do poetry at the end, but tonight, you know, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to give you guys a taste of, you know, someone who was born and bred right here in this area, and let you all hear from him. And we're also running, you know, on a pretty tight time schedule as of now. So it's up to you. You know, I want to use this kind of as an introduction to the artist Kels, who is a powerful spoken word, you know, artist, powerful poet. You know, if
let me bring up Kels. Right, let me ask one last question before we conclude, and then we'll bring Kels up to bless us with his piece. So everyone, and even in the chat, we're looking forward to your responses on this one as well. But what do you do when a guy is showing signs of losing interest? So when the chase is over? So I'm gonna start with the ladies on this one. And I'm gonna go to Cassandra. So Cassandra, you're sensing that you know, he's losing interest and it feels like he could be going elsewhere, or he's just not home. Because one thing I learned is people leave before they leave, right? So he probably checked out mentally, emotionally, and the only thing left is physically. So what do you do when the chase is over, or when a guy has begun to lose interest? And it's for my fellas to share some insight. So I want to know what we're doing, and then I want to hear from the fellas on what, you know, share some insight on that.
I ask questions. I'm like, I need to know what's going on, what's wrong with you, what, because I know ain't nothing wrong with me, what's happening, you know. I'm not checking phones, I'm not following you, I'm not checking email, I'm not doing all of that. If I'm doing all of that, it's over anyway. But no, I'm asking questions like what's happening. And then if I feel like I'm not getting, you're not communicating with me, yeah, I'm calling it quits. I'm quick to be like, no, thank you, good day.
Yeah. And you know, you brought up a good point, because some of these, I won't even say chicks, I'm gonna say some of these people out here can turn into Inspector Gadget with the ability to look into the phones. And I'm like, you should really apply to be in the FBI. Like, they're seriously talented, the way that they're tracking and keeping up with, and it's a full-time job. So I feel you on not wanting to even entertain that, because you can get consumed in, and then you could mess around and find something that's not something, but because you're so paranoid trying to look for something, we can get into that later. But Aisha, so what do you do? A guy, you're sensing that he's beginning to lose interest. What do you do?
I agree with Cassandra. Have a conversation, try to understand where it's coming from. But I've definitely been the FBI girl. I'm not gonna lie. I've been girl to hack your voicemail. I've been the one to go through your Facebook. You know, who you talking to. I've been that girl, but that came from a place of insecurity. And I feel like when you're secure with yourself, you don't have all of that, right? You have the conversation. If it doesn't make sense anymore, you proceed about your life. Life is short, man. If you don't love me, you're not passionate about me, and this is not where you want to be, bye.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
All right. Deidre.
Well, I agree with both of the ladies. I honestly would have a conversation, but I would start focusing on myself. So I always say, you know, don't lose sight of your dreams, your goals. And while you're focusing on yourself, if you find that he's not, you know, in tune to you or building you up, then you're fighting for the wrong person. It's time to, you know, let them go. Ultimately, your self-respect and self-worth is more important than, you know, wanting somebody to be in tune with you. That means he's not the person for you. It's time to let him move on.
Okay. All right. Which one of the fellas want to go first? Joe?
I could honestly say that you'll realize the interest is lost by the conversations and just how someone is going about. My advice to the ladies is, I mean, I'm a Virgo, so if I lose interest in you, I lost interest in you. There's no going back conversation. There's nothing that's really gonna be had that's really gonna make me say, oh, you know what, I'll give it another chance, because we put so much into who we cherish or who we want to be with. And if you lose that in us, that means that you did something, or something turned us off to where it's like, nah, not anymore. The thing with men is, men they put out a lot. They put out a lot of energy to try to show that, hey, I can hold down my household. Hey, I'm gonna make sure we eat. I'm gonna make sure we're gonna provide for us. I'll make sure we do good for us. And sometimes women, they tend to nag and tend to want more and tend to want this and tend to want that. And as a man, it's like, what else can we do to satisfy you? So for me, it's like, you know, I gave you the world and it's right in front of you, but you want the moon, the star, and everything else. And really, that's not, you know, that's not feasible. You know, we're working to build together. So if we lose interest, me, myself, a Virgo man, just run.
Okay. All right. Chris?
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I believe that was some funny stuff earlier. I tend to believe everything Joe just said, 100%. Except the fact that I just want to know, and I believe, and I agree totally with the ladies on the panel. You must communicate, like Cassandra said, you must communicate and try to find out what's going on from me, but me, I'll probably let you know anyway, why having so much headaches, why you're so tired all the time, we get that good and we're good, because I understand women gonna be needy, you understand, because you're emotional, right? So that's what I'm there for. And if you talk and sometimes it's excessive, then I just let you know. But otherwise, if you see me start to shut down, then yeah. But I do agree with Joe, though, a lot of what Joe said.
Yeah. When you check out, you're checked out. Yeah. Mentor?
Well, seasons change and people change. Meaning, in the beginning, everything could be lovely, could be genuine, could be real. You see somebody that you want to be with, want to marry, and this is how everything starts off, right? But what's not being talked about or thought of a lot is over the course of a 10 to 15-year marriage relationship. Again, seasons change, people change, meaning, it's a job that the husband might have been going to that slowly, mentally, this job is doing something to this man. But you don't know in the beginning, right? Over time, your husband is changing before your eyes, and you probably will have a hard time understanding why. Could be, a nuclear plant job that he's working at, right? Same with the woman on her end. It could be, and guys are very patient, right? They could be plotting on your woman for a long time. I mean, this is the guy that's in her ear while she's, going through her things, but he's at work and he works with her. Okay, she may not have the money that day. He's giving her lunch, and just slowly over time, again, seasons change and people change. So I say all of that to say this, it's beautiful. I want everybody to make it to the finish line. Old and gray, you see these married couples in their 60s and they stand up and they go, well, we've been together for 45 years. We want this ending for everybody, right? Truth is, maybe only 2 or 3 of these groups make it to the finish line like that. So best thing everybody has to learn how to do is how to adjust. Adjust to whatever's coming to you in life. It could be financial, it could be love, it could be through kids, it could be through whatever.
Yeah.
The ability to adjust is how we're going to make it out here. And my brother, guest speaker, has something to say.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say it depends on the person and what it is what adjustments that you are willing to make. A lot of times it depends on communication too. Sometimes in relationships, we just have to press the refresh button. It don't mean that it's a bad thing. Sometimes, if it's someone that you're really interested in, you will have to find what is it to stop that flow. Sometimes it might be you. You might have given yourself away too fast, and he might have been chasing you for a while, and it could be a lot of different things. But the main thing is that it depends on what are you willing to do. Is this someone that you want to keep in your life, and what adjustments? What are you willing to do, and what you're not willing to do to get that synchronicity back in a relationship to where you feel like, I guess, you're valued or you appreciate it, or that you're not underlooked in your relationship, or whatever type of friendship, you know, when you feel like that the chase is just not there, are they still interested? I think it definitely depends on, you know, your communication with them, and also, you know, how much you like them, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. You know, how bad do you want this person in your life? Maybe you have to make some adjustments that you might not want to make. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or maybe some that you can say, you know what, I can compromise with that. I can make that adjustment. But that's all I want to say.
And how many of y'all Googled synchronicity? What he said. No, I didn't know what it meant.
I was busy hosting, so I wasn't able to. We got Booker in the chat. He added something really cool. He said the biggest word in relationships is not love, it's commitment.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. So are you closing us out? Are you queued up for that?
Yeah, because I would love, I appreciate having these brothers. I want my brother here to let everybody know how to find him on social media to plug himself.
Oh, well, you know what? That's something that I really do need to work on. But you guys can find me on different platforms. I go by the guest speaker. You can find me Facebook, Jermaine Ellis, but YouTube, SoundCloud, the guest speaker. That's GUESTSPEAKAA. The guest speaker. I really appreciate you all. Much love to you all. Yeah, like that.
And to my ladies,
not DMX. I promise you that's
he's not DMX.
Okay.
He's not DMX. And to my ladies that joined, I really loved having you guys on the panel today. You guys definitely gave a fresh perspective, and I hope that that gap of understanding that we started off with, that was probably here, I'm hoping that we at least brought it here. But on the next session, I would love us to dive even more deeper in how do we cultivate Black families, because that's been a threat for way too long. And it's important to talk through like what is needed to make Black families a thing again, and not just, you know, baby mamas here and baby fathers there, but how do we get back to being the original unit that we're supposed to be? There's a lot that we still got to talk through. But in the meantime, I'm just so thankful that you all joined us. We hope you guys had a great time as well. For the folks that tuned in the chat, man, you guys make it so live for us. Thank you so much for participating, for sharing, for commenting. We always have, me and the fellas always have this thing, as soon as we end the session, we jump right to the comments to just read through like the thoughts and the suggestions and the feedback and just the commentary. So you all are very much a part of this conversation as well, and we thank you all. So with that being said, we'll see all of you next Sunday. But before we go, we got a special treat, just like every other session, but this one comes from Chicago.
Coming live from the south side of Chicago, it's my homie Markel's Kells. We can do what it do.
No weapons formed against me shall prosper as long as God is with me. I disguised my success as a setback just to see who was really rocking with me. You see, this road be long and narrow, but I never complain and still walk it. Even though at times I be feeling like a little bitty candle flickering in a room full of darkness, but my spirit's strong and I got faith. God be giving me instructions. I just got to do what he say. I figured out how to avoid that crucial mistake, and that's to never pray without preparation, or you'll just be talking until you turn blue in the face. And from my understanding, that's the usual case. So I crack a smile in my imagination and stay focused until it manifests. I be humble through my accomplishments because I know it's always another test. But when God ordering your steps, you got to trust the process. So I be like, left, right, left, right. I left the wrong things alone and I got my mind right. Now my mind is set. and my thoughts different. So even in the room full of greasy banana peels, I still wouldn't get caught slipping. I believe. Hey, I learned fear's just a thought, so these days I don't hesitate. I be spitting from my soul, so if you real, it's gonna resonate. I'm my only competition, but still never seen second place. It'd be more like there are no highest. I believe anything is possible because you don't really know until you try it. Food for thought, I've been on the mental diet. I be spitting so many hot bars, I should have gingivitis. I'm a soldier. He's trying to indict us, thinking I'm a drug lord. Me and God got an alliance, but it's all part of the process. It's kind of hard trying to take off when some of your Migos be offset. So sometimes you got to offset and figure out where your thoughts at. I paid enough attention to realize that your happiness shouldn't cost that. So I'm cautious. I'm real picky on who I choose to give my energy to.
Yeah.
And that the person in the mirror could be an enemy too. And what greater threat is that bigger than you? It's all part of the process. Thank y'all.
Ooh, yes. That was hot, Kels.
Good. You even got the church clap from Deidre. She said, yeah, that was hot. That was hot.
What's your Instagram?
Woo.
That was awesome.
All right, mentor. I see it runs in the click. All right.
That's just, you know what I'm saying, the people I roll with, you know what
I'm saying.
That's my type of people around me, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm sharper than iron. That's what that is.
Of a feather, y'all fly.
Yeah, Chris. Well, Chris, we thank you for not ending. Chris, we thank you for not ending the session in your kitchen like you normally do. Well done. No, but for real, I know it might be.
Sorry to disappoint.
All right. All right. That was dope. Thank you, everyone, again for joining. I hope you all had a great time. Leave your comments, your feedback, your suggestions, share it out. Let's get it out and let's get together again. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys stopping in. Thank you for all the gems you dropped.
Hey, and Joe, I just want to say, Joe, we did it again, man. I didn't know you was gonna have a baseball team on your chest. I got the San Diego Padres on. See you with the White Sox on. You didn't even know I was from there, Chicago, Joe.
Listen, the only thing y'all missing now is a fishing trip.
No doubt about it.
All right.
Love y'all.
Bye, guys.
And the ladies are invited. They gotta come.
The ladies are invited too.
Ladies,
y'all going fishing?
I go fishing. I go fishing. I'm not touching the bait or none of that, but I'm gonna go fishing though.
Learn the bait.
I'll drive the boat, but don't ask me to.
Do the bait, Cassandra.
I'm not the bait.
So what y'all doing? You hang up first. Oh, you hang up first.
No, first.
Y'all crazy. Everybody stay safe out there.
All right, you
All right,
guys.
y'all.
Will do. Bye, guys. For real this time.